Hey everyone, so I edited those videos of the Nasties that I did, those reviews that ended up being 3 videos, and I discovered that I was missing 4 movies, and 2 are ones that I really like. So I was kind of like, what the hell? So, I think I'm going to have to do another video here and talk about these. And these are just 4 nasties that I ended up forgetting, unfortunately. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a video about them. The other thing that I wanted to get off my chest was, as many of you know, Donald Trump won. Now, I suggest people start looking into Donald Trump being the Antichrist. And I don't feel like making a big video about it, really. But there are quite a few sources that I can leave in the description box discussing Revelations and some of the prophecy that matches up pretty well with Trump. I did not vote for him. As you know, I did a Project 2025 video a few months ago, and you know, anybody who has looked at his Agenda 47 or has read that document, you guys have been warned. So if you voted for him, I'm sorry, but you know, no, you know what? I'm not going to be sorry. Okay, I'm not going to be sorry, and here's why. If you voted for him and you don't like what he's going to do, you deserve it. Okay, you put yourself in your place here. You know, in this position. You put yourself in this position, and you know, he's talking about in his Agenda 47 kidnapping homeless people off the street and building camps, basically, to house these people. Okay, that's called kidnapping. You can't do that. I mean, oh, Jerry. Oh my God. My cat literally just vomited. Okay. Jerry, get out of here. Shoo. I'm closing my door. Alright. So I have cat puke to clean up after this. So joy. Right in front of me. But I'm thankful that he didn't get it on a rug. You know, it's on the floor. It's on the hard floor. I can easily just wipe it off. So, you know, at least it's not on a rug. But, yeah, I hate it when they do that. When they vomit on a rug. And then you gotta scrub it out, and it's annoying. But, so yeah, that's where I am with this whole thing. I mean, you asked for it, you will get it. The day will come when you guys will see what a terrible threat he is. And you're going to wish you had never voted for this guy. So, and I'm just going to be sitting back and being like, I told you so. You know, lots of people told you guys this was going to happen. So, it is what it is. I'm anticipating another satanic panic. This is just like the 80s when Ronald Reagan won. The Heritage Foundation worked with him, just like they're doing with Trump. And of course we saw moral panic, you know, tying in with this video. We saw moral panic in this country. We got a satanic panic. People making up stories about killer cults. You know, and satanic child abuse and all this nonsense. You know, and it is what it is. I mean, I knew that we were in another age of Aquarius. And eventually what happens is that pendulum swings back and we end up getting into Pisces. Okay, now Pisces is more of the conservative air of things. The age of Aquarius is more of the Lucifer, Luciferian dawn, awakening type of thing, where people start experimenting with various paths. You know, the 60s it was drugs, it was spirituality, it was all kinds of things. But there's usually some truth that is involved with the age of Aquarius. And now we're headed back to the age of Pisces, where you're going to see more conservatism. You're going to see religion being brought into the public school again, just like in Louisiana with the Ten Commandments being put into schools. By the way, the judge ruled that unconstitutional recently, so it's on pause. No surprise. In the 80s, Kentucky attempted to do the same thing, but they were pushed back by the Supreme Court. However, the Supreme Court in the 80s had some well, you know, rounded individuals. I mean, not people that, you know, were just Donald Trump loyalists filling the places. So, you know, the seats of the judges and all that. So it was more balanced back in the 80s. I predict that now the Supreme Court is going to side with Christian nationalism. Because of the Trump appointees that are in there, and he's going to make sure that there's going to be at least another person put in there as well. So everybody has been warned. You know, people are gonna, I predict, you know, if he does all this crazy stuff that he's been talking about, like kidnapping people and throwing them in camps, people are going to say, oh God, this is a dictatorship, how horrible. And it's like, well, no, duh. We kind of told you that. But it is what it is. Anyway, I'm not going to spend any more time on this, but you know, it's going to be an interesting time. 4 years, another 4 years. It's going to be an interesting time. And keep in mind, like I said, I did support this guy the first time. But this is not an individual that you really want to support, you know. It's not just Luciferians that are saying that he's the Antichrist now. There are some Christians also that are saying that he is the Antichrist. There's all kinds of things, you know. He was shot almost fatally. You know, the beast had a wound that was fatal, that healed. You know, he's got the mouth of a lion. He's very boisterous type of character. So these are all things that a lot of people now are starting to come out and say. During his first term, a Luciferian, like myself, another Gnostic Luciferian, stated that he believed that Trump was the Antichrist also, the first time. So, I'm telling you, it's very real. But, you know, let's get to the movies now, because I don't want to waste any more time on this. So, Night School, aka Terrorize, is a very interesting film by the director of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. You heard that right. This was his horror movie about headhunters, basically, and somebody is going around a school and basically cutting the heads off people. And it's not what you would call a graphic film, really. I mean, it actually lacks gore for the fact that it involves people's heads coming, you know, getting cut off. Surprisingly. But it is a pretty interesting film, basically. You know, it takes place in a college, and well, I'm not going to ruin it, but I'll leave the trailer in the description box as usual about this. But as far as the release goes, I believe that this is a print-on-demand one. So I don't think it's even out on... Yeah, it's print-on-demand. Yeah. The play's okay, though. But, yeah, it's actually been a while since I've watched it, too. But, yeah, it's worth checking out, definitely. And then we have a terrible movie called Night of the Demon. It's actually in this horror collection. So, this is the only way I think that you can get it. But it's a professor and his students embark on a journey in the forest to find proof of a deadly beast believed to be responsible for countless deaths. So they're basically looking for a Yeti, and it turns out to be it's a really messed up movie, honestly. It's kind of it's a cool film, but it features a really weird plot where the daughter of this guy, she's basically raped by a Yeti, and she gives birth to this Yeti thing, and it's like this bad family secret thing that it turns out, and this thing is like going out and killing people, and it's a pretty interesting film, like, but it's so poorly made that like sometimes the effects are pretty laughable, honestly, such as when a guy gets his arm ripped off, the arm itself is actually bleeding, which doesn't make any sense because once your limb is ripped off your body's going to continue to bleed, but your limb isn't going to be bleeding. So, you know, things like that are just kind of like hilarious about this film. You know, it just shows that like the filmmakers were kind of clueless on basic things like anatomy. But it's not, I mean, overall it's not a bad film. So, Night of the Demon, not to be confused with the good 50s movie that came out. That one came out in the 80s. And then we have, I'm going to talk about pranks. I love this film. I watch this film an awful lot. And I don't really know why I like it so much. But, you know, it could just be, I mean, the murder weapon is pretty punky. And, I mean, come on. You know, it's a baseball bat with nails driven through it. A lot of it. Not the sole weapon that the killer uses, but it is used. But the kill scenes are absolutely, I mean, there's a scene where a guy gets the back of his head drilled in, like some driller killer thing. And stuff. So the kill scenes are pretty wild in this. Most people know it as the dorm that dripped blood. So when you see this for sale, you're going to see it as the dorm that dripped blood. So this Blu-ray DVD combo pack that I have just happens to have two-sided artwork here. And when I bought it, it was Dorm That Dripped Blood. However, I always knew it as Pranks. And the reason why was because a lot of video stores actually, the VHS copies were called Pranks. So when it was released in theaters, I believe it was called Dorm That Dripped Blood, but on VHS it was called Pranks for some weird reason. So I always knew it as this. So I was happy that they had this cover on it, because this was one of the rental VHS covers, basically. But the kill scenes are pretty good. There's definitely an interesting plot twist. You know, it's a good slasher film, American slasher film. And it is actually shot in an abandoned dorm on a campus. I believe shortly after they filmed, it was finally torn down. But they actually got permission to film in the abandoned building first before they tore it down. So it's, but it definitely has its intense moments. It definitely does. I'll leave a trailer in the description box. I'll be leaving that, so you guys can view that, because it was pretty cool. And then Lone Wolf and Cub. But actually, I believe it's Shogun Assassin. Yep. So I'm just ecstatic over this because Shogun Assassin came out before this collection. And Shogun Assassin, I believe, is actually, it is on this collection, more as a bonus, along with the other movies. But what Shogun Assassin is, actually, is a re-edit of The Lone Wolf and Cub, 2 movies in the series. So it is Sword of Vengeance and Baby Cart at the River Styx, that are basically taken, re-edited for American audiences, and dubbed so poorly that they literally made up a bunch of stuff of what the characters were saying that they were not actually saying. If you watch the undubbed versions and then you watch the American dubbed version, it's a completely different story that they made up around this plot. So that is like one of the hilarious things about it. But this is definitely a series of films that I really got into. Shogun Assassin was on the Nasties list. It is the only samurai non-horror film really to make it on there. It's just based off of samurai and or martial arts type of films. And after one has seen these movies, you can pretty much understand why it was on that list. They're pretty gruesome films. No mercy. But amazing, amazing films. The detail is just stunning. The sword play is amazing. Of course, it's a little outrageous the way the blood just like splashes out, you know, spraying all over the place. If you want to know what I'm talking about, but you've never seen these movies, a good example of this is Kill Bill Volume 1. Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill Volume 1 talks a lot about the Lone Wolf and Cub series, and it's actually probably one of the reasons why this was released on Blu-ray. If it wasn't for Quentin Tarantino, these films probably would have been lost in the obscure past, basically. But because he brought it back out with Kill Bill, and them talking about Shogun Assassin, and then, of course, you have the ending scene where she's fighting and she's cutting off limbs and all that with her katana. And you see blood spraying everywhere, you know. Huge amounts of it, just like outrageous. Like, that's exactly what you're going to see in this film. Outrageous amounts of blood just like spraying everywhere. Limbs coming off. I mean, like, all out serious action. And all the while he has to protect his son. So he's got his son in a cart, and I mean, you can see some images here. So he's pushing his son along in a cart, and people are trying to kill him. And he's got to like whip out his sword, man, and just like hack while he's pushing his kid around in the cart, you know. And his kid sometimes helps him too, which is hilarious. But like, the ending for me was not. White Heaven and Hell really was a disappointment for me. it was disappointing because I felt like the bad guy won in the end. He got away, and they just ended it. And it's like, man, you guys couldn't have an epic battle, I mean, he's like hunting this guy, and this guy's like, killed his wife, and then he never like gets him, because he gets away at the end, and then it just ends the series, and I'm like, what? So that was my only complaint about this series, was, wait a minute, man, I mean, but just look at the art too on this case. I mean, the art is amazing. I mean, the presentation that the Criterion edition did for this is amazing. The Criterion collection. But yeah, I highly recommend it. I don't know if you can see them free on. I can't imagine Hulu. Effed Up Movies might have it. Might have at least like Shogun Assassin free, possibly. But you're better off. You're better off just watching the whole series. Reading the subtitles. The story's going to be more comprehensive. It's going to be better. When they re-edited it and they dubbed it and everything, they just like reinvented it basically to like come up with like a new story, some weird ass thing or whatever. But it's absolutely like nothing compared to just watching all of them. And there's 6 movies in this, not counting Shogun Assassin. So you get 6 movies plus Shogun Assassin in this. I mean, just amazing. I mean, you get this beautiful book, and yeah, it's crazy. I love these movies. I really do. So, I mean, if you're like into like a lot of the fighting and adventure and all that, and it's just amazing. But yeah. So Lone Wolf and Cub, Shogun Assassin on the Nasties list. So anyway, those are the forgotten Nasty films that I forgot to talk about. So I will be leaving trailers as usual, and yep. Once again, if you guys really like me talking about my film collection, please let me know. I also have a lot of albums too. Some people have asked me to like talk about some of my black metal albums. But I don't just listen to black metal. I actually have a lot of things like Brian Eno and New Wave and some more obscure stuff, a lot of classic rock. So if you guys want, I can start pulling through some of that. I mean, I have a ton of vinyl and CDs. Yes, I still buy CDs. I hate digital media, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I've done. I mean, just look at all these CDs, guys. Yeah, I already did some stuff on Mayhem box sets and all that, so yeah, got quite a few things going on here. So, yeah. Anyway. So, yep. As usual, hit like and subscribe. Thank you.